Perfectionism is a personality trait characterized by the relentless pursuit of flawlessness, the need to set excessively high personal standards, and engage in overly critical evaluation of self and/or others. Do you have this? Let's find out. According to Elizabeth Scott on Very Well Mind, there are 10 signs of perfectionist traits. 1. All or nothing thinking. 2. Being highly critical. 3. Feeling pushed by fear. 4. Having unrealistic standards. 5. Focusing only on results. 6. Feeling depressed by unmet goals. 7. Fearing failure. 8. Procrastinating. 9. Being defensive. And 10. Having low self-esteem. Do any of these signs resonate with you? Maybe a couple? Maybe all? Well, let's talk about it. Hello everyone, this is Callimara here. And no, it's not calamari, but I am a perfectionist. Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new to the pond, go ahead and take a dive. You might like it here, or you might not. This is a topic that I've wanted to talk about for a while because it's something I've dealt with since I was really young, maybe since 11 as far as I could remember. And I think it's something that has progressed and evolved in very different ways over the years. Just so you're aware, this video gets heavy. So if you're not in the mental headspace to deal with that and just want some lighthearted fun, try watching my other videos instead. I wanted to make this video because I don't really know how else to work through it aside from going to therapy, I guess, which is very difficult to find and access where I am. So the next best thing I can do, I guess, is to talk through it, letting it out so that it's a little less crowded in my head, and maybe it may resonate with some of you watching as well. Or, maybe you just need inspiration for a specific type of character you're writing. In which case, here you go. If you guys were one of my early subscribers, you might know that I occasionally make videos on mental health. I usually speak in those videos as a distant observer, more informative and factual. But this video will be different from that. This one is personal. It's my experience with perfectionism, and granted, there are 3 different types of perfectionism, and not all of them are bad. You have socially prescribed perfectionism, which involves high standards and social pressure to succeed. This type contributes to poor self-confidence and feelings of anxiety. There's also other-oriented perfectionism, involving having high expectations of other people. This can contribute to conflict and relationship problems. And finally, there's self-oriented perfectionism, a more adaptive form of perfectionism characterized by high motivation, resourcefulness, and positive emotions. This is a positive type of perfectionism, and for the most part, I like to think that this is the type I have. But occasionally, the other 2 types come into play as well. I'm sure this isn't the case for everyone who is a perfectionist, but for me, it feels like it cycles from one to the next and feeds into each other. I think of it as a silent killer, something unnoticeable and even beneficial until those quiet moments when you're tired and just have too much time to think. So you start poking holes into every single thing you messed up that day, things you should have gotten right, done better, but didn't. And all the ways people must be judging you for falling short. For the speed draw of this video, I was inspired by this post on Twitter that is part of the Apple trend that's really popular recently. I love their artwork, but what really captured me was their caption. The Apple trend, except there's no one on the other side. It's rotting, and maybe it'll reach me. It really resonated with me, particularly in how I view perfectionism. Like running full speed towards a place that doesn't exist. There's nothing at the end. Perfection cannot be achieved because it is inherently subjective and it changes over time. And all you're doing is expediting your own destruction. I always told myself that if I ever made it into medical school, if I were ever fortunate enough to receive that education, I wouldn't be a perfectionist anymore. I wouldn't care about my grades or being the best of the best. I just want to be there. But now I'm here. And I never considered the possibility that I would fret over not being perfect when I have the experience and previous knowledge. When I already know those things, have done those things, have excelled in them before. So how could I deliver anything less than perfection? How embarrassing would it be for me if I didn't? What would be the point of me if I didn't have any achievements to show for it? If I didn't go all in, if I didn't stand out, if I wasn't exemplary? So now I'm class president and oh no, I attained the impossible standard I've set for myself, so now I can only maintain it. Because going backwards is not an option. I have to. Because how embarrassing would it be for me if I didn't? Everyone thinks so. Callie getting a bad grade? Impossible. Callie not dressed well? What happened? Callie deciding not to wear makeup that day? That's not right. And when it happens, because it's inevitable that you will fail, that no matter how much you work and want, it's not enough because your standards are impossible to attain in the first place and you don't even realize it. It's gut-wrenching. It makes you question your intelligence, your worth, everything you thought you knew about yourself. It makes you feel less, not just as a student, but as a person. It makes you think, what are you without this? What are you if you're not perfect? You're nothing. Because when you're a perfectionist, you fall into this all or nothing pattern of thinking and there's no in-between. Your art didn't turn out as well as you expected? Destroy it. Your writing isn't as good as you hoped? Scrap it. Your grades aren't straight A's? Drop out. Your YouTube channel isn't growing at the pace you thought it would? Delete it. Or sometimes, when you're scrolling through your friends' social media, you can't help but compare yourself to them, quietly noting all the ways you fall short and all the ways you're behind, maybe regretting decisions you did or didn't make, wondering about the what ifs. Would you have the same achievements they did? Would you accomplish more? Would your life be better? Would you be happy? Because sometimes I don't know if I made the right decisions. I don't know if I should have stayed in Australia and worked that nursing job, gotten that permanent residency and built a life independent from my family and everything I know. Would my career have taken off faster, bigger if I did? Would I be happy? Sometimes, most of the time, I'm not sure I know what it means to be happy. But that's my high-functioning depression talking, and that's not what we're talking about today. What I do want to talk about is this comment I got a while ago on one of my videos that really got to me. It said, 342 views in 18 minutes? Fell off. I don't usually care about mean comments. Most of the time, I and some of the people in my life are far harsher to me than anyone online can be. Mean comments come with the territory when you put yourself out there publicly. Not everyone will like you or agree with you, and that's fine. More often than not, those people won't even remember leaving those comments in the first place, so why should you? But it was a bit different this time. I don't know what it was. Maybe I was already feeling that way deep down and didn't want to acknowledge it. Maybe I was already feeling vulnerable and insecure because normally I don't try to pay too much attention to the performance of my videos. When views are down and growth is low, I always tell myself that my content is different now. What matters is that I'm making content that I do care about and genuinely enjoy, and it's not the same as the content that my early viewers likely subscribed to. So of course there's less views, and of course my growth is slow. I'm finding a new audience and building something authentic with people who care about me as a creator and not just whatever hot topic I happen to be covering. I'm doing things the right way, I tell myself. And yet that comment continued to stick with me. 342 views in 18 minutes. That's not a bad number of views at all, especially in such a short time. What are they talking about? But I check my past analytics, and I compare. And then that gnawing dread I was determined not to acknowledge creeps in full swing again. I fell off. So then I look at the people in my circle and I'm making note of their trajectories, how much faster their audience is growing compared to mine, how much further their content reaches, and how in no time at all, they'll surely surpass me. And suddenly I feel that I'm stuck in place. Not behind, not falling short, just stagnant, unmoving, moving backwards, declining, past your prime, falling off. But that's the thing with perfectionism, isn't it? Perfection, by its very nature, is stagnation. It is the top of the top, the best of the best, the very peak of what you can be. But the thing with humans is that you can't really limit someone's potential. You won't ever truly know what someone is capable of. You don't know if they could still improve or if they'll only get worse from there. And because of this boundless potential, they can never be perfect because they'll always be growing, changing. And because of this, perfectionists will never be perfect. Yet they chase it anyway, and they'll chase forever because the goalposts will always move. Sure, maybe you've hit your previous goal, but there's a new goal to achieve now. That previous goal means nothing. Any random person could have done it. You don't want to be replaceable, do you? Then attain this next goal. Then you might be something special, something worthy. Or maybe things have changed now. This goal no longer matters. This is what you should be chasing instead. So you think, one more goal. Once I accomplish this, I can rest. I'll be content. I'll be happy. And then you do accomplish it, and you don't rest. You're not content. You're not happy. You're still not worthy yet. Because there are still vaster skies to soar and taller mountains to climb. There are still others ahead of you, and you can be like that too. Don't you want that? Don't you want to be better than you are already? So you can't rest. You keep going. I've mentioned worth a few times before and the concept of worthiness. But what do I mean by this? Worthy of what? Worthy of where you are in life. Worthy of everything you have. Worthy of existing. Worthy of love. This is another big one I struggle with because quietly, deeply, I hold the perception that you have to be perfect to be loved by someone. If perfectionists tie their worth and value to their achievements and love is the reward, then failing to attain it means there's something wrong with me. I'm not interesting enough. I'm not pretty enough. I wasn't able to converse with them well enough. I don't act or dress well enough. If I want someone to like me, then I have to be prettier. I have to be skinnier, fitter, more interesting and knowledgeable in a lot of things. I have to be perfect so that I can be loved. Anything less than perfect will never find love. There's so many others who are better, prettier, more experienced, more skilled, has better prospects. You have to beat out all those other people to win love. And yet, you still notice that doesn't seem to be the case for anyone else around you. They're still able to be loved just the way they are, and you wonder, why can't you? Why doesn't anyone love you for you? Why is it that despite how hard you've worked, how much you've done, you're still not enough? I was told that my best is never enough. I am never enough. I grew up learning that love is something that has to be earned and that you are worthless unless you're useful. And maybe, depending on the culture you grew up in, you agree with this too. And even now, I still do as well. It's like a whip that keeps the workhorse running, even if it's already exhausted and wants to rest. It doesn't deserve it. It hasn't earned it yet. It hasn't arrived yet. Maybe it would be nice to live a different way. A life without whips and constant dread over your perceived value, but you don't know any other way to live, and it served you so well so far. So why would you change anything? Is it wrong if it works? But sometimes you fall back down and end up right back where you started, maybe worse. And in those moments you wonder if any of it mattered, if what you had was already enough, if you were always allowed to rest. But that's not true. That can't be true. That's not for you. There are so many people relying on you. So many people are waiting to see what you'll do. And you're gonna let them down? Are you going to let them drown? Are you going to let them see what you really are? Useless, disappointing, incompetent, a fraud, undeserving of everything she has, unworthy of anything more. So you don't do anything. Because you think if it's not perfect and it's not an instant hit, it doesn't deserve to exist because you're too scared of trying and failing, so you don't try at all. You tuck yourself into your daily routines, your rote habits, and other more important responsibilities. So you put it off, whatever it is you want to do, because you have to be responsible. You put it off because there are more pressing matters in your life. You delay and delay and delay because at least then you can still pretend you're perfect. And sometimes it's more important that people think you're perfect, even if you're falling apart inside, even if it feels like a lie. Or maybe you've already met your goals. Maybe you've become exactly the person you wanted to be, done everything you wanted to do. You've attained your perception of perfection. What happens then? Well, then you stagnate. You don't want to change. You're already everything you strived for. So you stay the same. You stay still. You can't change because that would mean falling from grace, deviating from your vision, which you can't. You wouldn't allow yourself to. And because you're staying the same whereas everyone around you is changing, you're left behind. You've isolated yourself in your own pursuit and enforcement of perfection. So you end up alone. And you think it's lonely at the top. Maybe because no one else could get there. Or maybe because you've pushed away everyone else who would have kept you company. But still, you can't help it. Even if you know you're tired, even if you know it's toxic and self-destructive, it's a difficult thing to stop. It's not really like an addiction. It's more like a guilt trip. It's more like a sin. You're wasting precious time when you could be working. You're wasting energy when you could have spent it being productive. You're throwing it all away. The world won't wait for you. You can't turn back the clock. You're useless. And you tell yourself this over and over again. But nothing gets done, so you hate yourself. So you tell yourself this over and over again. But still, nothing gets done, and you still hate yourself. But why do I think like this? If you relate to any of what I've said, why do you feel like this? Well, according to several resources that I was able to access, there are many factors that can affect a person's chances of having a perfectionist personality. Some of the main causes may include a fear of judgment or disapproval from others, early childhood experiences, like having parents with unrealistically high expectations, having a mental health condition associated with perfectionist tendencies like OCD, having poor self-esteem, feelings of inadequacy, a need for control, or tying self-worth to achievements. This was certainly the case when I was younger. I couldn't tolerate any work that didn't meet my standards. It was very bad. So bad that I wouldn't let other people contribute. I'd just do it all myself. I'd even scrap other people's work too. But nowadays, I'm not too fussed about what other people are doing. I'm also a lot less high-strung than I used to be in nursing school, if you can believe it. By my standards, I have very much become a type B kind of person. I'm not constantly scrambling for control anymore. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, or let someone else worry about it. And I think a large part of that is the simple result of maturing, or maybe getting too old to give so many fucks, not having as much energy as I used to. But societal and cultural expectations can also play a role in perfectionism. Maybe you have one of these, or a few of these, or maybe a handful of these. Not all of it together is certain to result in perfectionist personality traits. It's possible that it may even result in the complete opposite: apathy, fatalism, or even manifest as self-harm, eating disorders, and suicidal ideation. I don't think there is one specific thing or even a specific group of things that for certain causes someone to be a perfectionist. I can only postulate that it must be a combination of nature and nurture, just like any other personality trait or psychological disorder. A genetic inclination towards certain traits in combination with the environment you were raised in. But I do know that it's been on the rise and continues to rise as the world grows more and more competitive, as there are more and more people and less resources. Because if you're not the best, you're not going to get into that dream school. Someone better will. Nor are you going to be hired for that job. You won't get that commission work if your art portfolio isn't as impressive as another artist, if your prices aren't competitive enough. It's all part of survival, right? Because perfectionist personality traits in themselves are not a mental disorder. They do have a purpose and benefit to us. It's good to want to continue improving yourself. It's good to want to push yourself and strive for excellence. It's good to be highly motivated and productive. You should do that. You should be a bit of a perfectionist. But it's not good when you don't know when to stop, where to draw the line, when you take it too far and only end up hurting yourself or the people around you. And I know that probably seems like the most obvious thing in the world. Common sense even. Moderation is key. But when you're in the thick of it, it can be hard to remember. It feels irrelevant even, that it somehow doesn't apply to you. It does for everyone else, but not you. You're not allowed mediocrity. Like feeling tired, needing rest is something unacceptable. Like feeling burnt out and enjoying recreation is something shameful. Like you'd be judged for it. Like people would think you're lazy or useless or you're not doing your job or working hard enough. For these kinds of videos, I normally like to give some resources or advice, and normally I'm the kind of person who likes to practice what I preach. But for this particular subject, I really can't say that I'll be able to follow it through myself. At least not consistently. Not without feeling guilty or like I'm enabling myself or creating an echo chamber so I can be complacent. So I get it if you can't always follow through with it either if you have the same problems I do, but at the very least, it's nice to know what to do when it gets a bit too much. So according to that same article I cited at the beginning, if you want to reduce the negative impact of perfectionist traits, you can create an environment where you feel accepted, surrounding yourself with people who care about you, who know you and your worth. Engage in positive self-talk, not compare yourself to others. Practice mindfulness to help you learn how to focus on the present without worrying as much about the past or future, and using techniques from cognitive behavioral therapy, like challenging negative thoughts. And I find that last one particularly interesting because you've been listening to me spout a bunch of negative thoughts this entire video, and really, it's as simple as asking, why do you feel that way? And I think this is also when you would need a therapist to step in, because if you try to answer that question yourself, you're just going to end up intellectualizing your condition and nothing gets done. And of course, if it ever gets to the point where none of these things work, I would highly advise you seek professional help. Everybody needs therapy from time to time. Even if you think you're super self-aware and can work it out yourself, especially then. Do as I say, not as I do. But if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope this video made you feel seen. I hope it makes you realize you're not the only one who feels like this, or at the very least, gave you some inspiration for a character you're writing. In any case, thank you so much for hanging out in my channel for a while. I hope your skin didn't get too pruny. Big shout out to my lovely sea bunnies on Patreon. If you want to become a sea bunny and get extra perks like a free commission from me, join my Patreon. If you want to see more from me, then please follow me on all my social media. If you want to submit fan art or chat with me, join my Discord server. And if you want more of my stories, check out my Wild Word series here on YouTube because that will make me really happy. All the links are in my description and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!